great to be here. So, yeah, we're talking about all things CMS today. So, yeah, let's rethink it, you know. Let's learn about the past and let's apply some patterns for the future. So before we get into everything, I really want to start with the history. So I've just done a little bit of a story, almost like back in 1.4, we got the WYSIWYG editor and we got widgets at the same time. And then somewhere along the way, we got the WordPress integration. I know a lot of people still have nightmares about that one. After that, we get Page Builder. Then we started integrating a lot of headless CMSs. And then afterwards, like, you know, talking about Hyvä CMS a little bit and beyond, like what's the future? So I do want to start off with the WYSIWYG editor. Now, there's not really much bad about this one. It's super basic. It has the functionality that we needed from it at the time. You know, back during the 1.4 days, we weren't really building crazy CMS pages with loads of content. It was more done in the development and the code. So yeah, it's got some cool things sprinkled in, like CMS directives, and yeah, just useful, just simple content. Then widgets. Now, as a developer, I really love widgets. Like, they're just, I can build them in code, set like whatever is needed for it. You know, it's great, but then we start talking about the negatives where it's like, it's not really good for previewing. I mean, there's no preview. And as well, it's pretty clunky sometimes, but no, it's still useful for like banners, sliders, and listings. So, Page Builder. Now, Page Builder was a really big step up. I know a lot of us think differently in some way, shape, or form, but it was a big step up from what we actually had. You know, it was originally the Bluefoot editor, which was then purchased, and then it was rebranded into Page Builder as we know and love nowadays. It's Magento's drag and drop editor, which is still used to this day. You know, the solution is good enough. Like, we can start building layouts of pages and start sprinkling in like all the bits and bobs that we need. So your text fields, images, banners, the lot. Then we start talking about the negatives. I mean, the UI isn't the best. You know, on top of it, it's really difficult to extend. Like, I mean, there's a reason why we don't really see much built on top of it. Although we do see like content types, but then even in itself, it's like 8, 9 different files that you have to create just to get something basic working. But, you know, still good. And then we start talking about the third-party integrations. Now, this is what we tend to see a lot more nowadays. Like, I'll briefly go over the Magento WordPress integration. Like, that's something that we originally, you know, it bridged the gap. You know, we all kind of understand WordPress. A lot of people already have a lot of content on WordPress. So the idea is that they integrate it with Magento. But I feel like a lot of us saw that there was a lot of security issues related to that, on top of the issue of hosting 2 different environments, like the Magento and the WordPress. And then on top of that, just the speed. It just wasn't the greatest. Now, headless integrations, like that is mainly what we see nowadays for building these crazy custom pages with everything. Now, I'm actually a really big fan of them. Like, I've built integrations over the years, I've managed them and sold it to loads of clients, and it was really, really, really good. Like, I'm not going to knock it. You know, it's great for developers, it's great for the clients. And just all around, like, it's built up to be what it's meant to be, a CMS, first and foremost. But you do have a couple of caveats with that one. Like, you don't get your Magento data in there unless you integrate it a little bit further. But I think the biggest issue for me is the unpredictability. Now, the unpredictability in these integrations, I'm just going to go off on a quick tangent now. Like, there was, after building all these integrations, adding it to a load of Magento sites, everyone seemed to love it. And the plans at the time were $21 per month to use this, right? Ding dong, get an email come through. Oh, that same plan that we were using now costs $449 per month. And that's a really, really big jump. So it just opened my eyes to the idea that you have no control anymore. Your CMS content is in the hands of another company that basically can set their rules at any single time. So it's just something to watch out for, and it's a pretty big deal. So that's what led us at Hoover to start working on Hoover CMS. Now, it's our reimagined CMS for Magento. You know, we released it to our Gold and Platinum partners very early in the year, and then it's now released into the general availability from July onwards. And it allows a live preview editor, and yeah, I think it's super awesome. So let's talk about building a CMS for Magento. Now, people are going to compare us to Page Builder, all right? So we needed to understand, firstly, what were the weaknesses and what are the solutions that we're going to apply. So, you know, if something's slow, we need to make it fast. If it's got a WYSIWYG preview, it needs to be a live preview. You keep going down the list. But, you know, I think the main one there is it only includes, like, CMS features. So let's apply our solutions. Fast, real preview, make it easy to extend. Do you know what? Let's just make it an actual CMS. Let's not just build to match something. Let's build it better, bigger, so it can be expanded on. In the terms of performance, blank canvas. We stripped everything out. And then we applied the Hoover stack, which a lot of you hopefully have worked with, which is just Alpine.js and Tailwind CSS. And then we just use MageWire to handle the back and forth between the front end and the back end. Shout out to Will and Portman for MageWire. And let's talk about the live view, all right? There's no magic here. Like, it's no voodoo magic, you know, there's no third-party package. There's no crazy solution that no one's ever going to understand. It's just Magento, MageWire, and JSON. Now, developers. Look, developers are a really, really big deal. Like, it can be amazing for the client, but it could be terrible for the developers. And if no developers want to work for it, they're not going to start selling it to their own clients. So keep the Magento architecture. Keep the tech stacks familiar. And let's just make it easy to extend. Like, the main ideology that I have in this one is that we don't block you from doing what you want to do. Your use case is different. Everyone's use case is different. So if you want to extend it, extend it. Like, we've built it in a way that you can. And all your developers that you actually already have will be able to understand this. Now, components. I was talking about Page Builder, 8, 9 different files, loads of different things happening. This is literally just PHTML files and JSON files. Like, that's it. One to declare it and one to display it. I mean, you can extend it, of course, but that's up to you. That's just the bare level. And then, yeah, of course, you've got to have the user experience as well. User experience is going to be clean. Of course, it's going to be modern, easy to navigate. And we do sprinkle in bits of fun when we can. Like in our version history, you can add like emojis and stuff. It's stupid, but it's fun. And then let's talk about actual useful features. Like, I'm not going to list them all, but, you know, there's just a couple of the main ones here. Like version history, like being able to go back 20 versions ago and be able to like, oh, let's actually do that, you know, let's use that. Being able to import and export your CMS content between your different environments, like it's a really big deal. And then on top, you know, named component scheduling, like that recently came out this week, and that allows you to bundle all of your changes in one go and be able to release them when you actually see fit. So it's actually perfect for Black Friday, so you can actually have some scheduling prepared Black Friday, all the banners change, and then afterwards, you know, get rid of it at a certain time. You don't have to have someone up there at like 2 a.m. basically like flicking a switch anymore. You know, we've got loads on our roadmap, but even translations, that'll be the next release, and that's even got AI integrated into it as well. So you can actually use AI to translate across all the different store views for that content. Now, building better solutions. Like, I'm not going to specify any specific one. Like, this is for any CMS. Like, you don't need to be using Hyvä CMS or anything like that for this. Even in Page Builder, you can apply these solutions to your existing content. So if you're a developer, you should be aiming to build for the client, not the developer. You think, oh, that's, that's expected, no? But it's actually very, very common that developers just start adding CSS classes everywhere. So, and it makes it really difficult for people to, maintain it. Like, it's not really usable. You're continuously having to ask them, like, can you make this change? Can you make this change? So when you're creating your content, just ask yourself, can a non-technical person use this? How many steps does it take? Does it require a load of steps? Or does it even require documentation? Because if your answer is yes to any of these, then it's probably not a good solution. CSS classes are for developers, they're not for clients. Like, if you start telling your clients to add CSS classes to that section or that page or doing this or doing that, it's not a good solution. Build with intention. We need to stop building building overly complex functionality that isn't needed. It's so common where someone has something that's easy to build, so they allow you to change things like font sizes, there's box shadows. Like, are they even going to use that, or are they just going to use the base level to absolutely everything just so they can add their title field and their description? Ask yourself, like, as a developer, are the configurable options that you're adding actually going to be used? Or should I just focus on building what the client actually wants and needs? Like, can a component look broken if the options are changed? Would they even be able to do it without you being there? Like, I'm just going to show a couple of examples here for this one. So if we can see in this one, I've built an over-engineered example of being able to manage content. So there's just like a card there, and I can change every single option inside of here. Like, every single option. And it's like, do you really want that? Like, do you really want to spend your day just going through all of these things? And then let's not even talk about the code. It's just if statements after if statements after if statements and loads of other things, style tags, everything. It's just not great. And then we'll talk about a simple example. Like, surely what you just want to do as the client is add a title, add a content field, and then just work with all of that. You just want something that's been built really nicely, looks amazing, and then you've got like different options that you can choose from. Then the code example, it's less code, less maintenance, less everything. It's a bit of a no-brainer, to be fair. And I'm going to leave you with this main one. The more that you add means the more that you maintain. And when you're having to maintain hundreds of different components, what would you prefer to do? Do something that's like the simple example or the very, very overcomplicated one? So save your sanity on that one, everyone.
Sorry. Probably a little bit.